Dennis, Master Gonzalez, distinguished members. For time constraints, I'd like to use John. He's got it. So just a couple of things we've been working on. Okay. I'm sorry I had to do that for time constraints. Mr. John has to go to work. Thank you. It seems simple, a little bit of history to this. Doing research of myself, I thought Hapkido was something over centuries. And I come to find out that it's really a new martial arts. It really began in the middle of the 20th century, right after World War II. There was a man, his name was Takeda Sukaku. He was Korean, and he was the 35th descendant of a famous warrior of the Hwa rank. He had many students, but he had two main students. One was a Choi, Master Choi. Another one was Yeshiva. Choi was Korean. His beginning is a little bit controversial because there are no records of him being an official student of Master Takeda. Mr. Yeshubi is Japanese. He founded Aikido. Now, you get this a lot where is Hapkido like Aikido? Yes and no. But I guess that's not really an answer. They both have the same beginnings. And as the beginning goes is that as Mr. Takeda, who was teaching Daedong Roy Hatki Yusu, he was teaching both his students that. But they both kind of formulated from that beginning into their own martial arts. So Hapkido is kind of eclectic in a sense, whereas Aikido has a good base and solid with forms and actual philosophy behind it. And the philosophy behind it is that you preserve your attacker. You get him off you, throw him down, but in a sense you don't break his arm, you don't strike him. Hapkido has no such philosophy. You preserve yourself. And that's pretty much how we do it. They base themselves on what they call the 3 pillars of Hapkido, or the 3 standards of it. One is the Wa, the other is the Wan, and the third is the Yu. Now, if I can have my wife to demonstrate, because I had trouble trying to explain those 3 pillars of it, but it's the best way I show it to you, it was shown to me. Now, to show it in the best way sense on how to do this, or to understand the 3 pillars, is that get out all night drinking. Ollie's been cooking up dinner with their carving knife, and I decided not to come home. I just decided to go drinking, went out with the boys, and I come home 1 o'clock in the morning, and of course something snaps in her. And she decides to bury that knife she's been carving dinner with right in my chest. So, as she does it, if I'm not in the Wa of it, which really the Wa means is that you have to be in sync with your opponent, in sync with life. And if you look at it, that's pretty much the way it is. When a flock of birds fly, when the lead turns, they all turn. And fish do the same thing. So I said, you have to be in sync. If you're out of sync, that knife will be in my chest. So as she stabs, that's the Wa. When she moves, I move. So again, that's the Wa. The Wan is a circular motion. And in the basis of Hapkido, everything is a circle. Everything in life is a circle. We come into this world dependent on other human beings to help us along in adolescence. We leave this world as elderly people, depending on people to carry us out. And they believe that much in life, as well as everything else. there isn't really straight lines in this. But without that circle, this will not work. So again, with the circle, with the 1, as notice, the 1 again, it's really up around. Okay? The U is the flow of water, the suppleness. Now, as water come up to a rock in a stream, it doesn't go through the rock, it goes around it. Goes around the rock, meets again, and keeps going. And this is, again, the basis of Hapkido, where it doesn't fight what it's going against. It just maneuvers around it. And again, with the circle part of it, as she comes in hard, I throw her this way. Now, the other principle is they believe everything happens in a circle as well as activity. And even when we do this in sparring, without even realizing it, is that we have to be in a certain circle for things to happen. Now, what I just did is I threw her out of the circle. Technically, this confrontation is over. I might as well be sleeping on the couch. But for her to come back, and when she wants to throw that, she has to get back in the circle. And that's how it was explained to me through a demonstration. The wa, the wan, and the yin. In them. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Now, other things about it is that, one, they taught us, again, grasp, but there's also part of it is called release. In this part about the release is that if I grab Oli, she can, in a sense, we're kind of handcuffed. Because I can't do anything with my hand, she can't do anything with her hand. Now, as a reversal, what's been taught is that she simply comes up. Now, she can either go away, or what we've been taught is, again, a reversal. Where all of a sudden she has me. And even though we're still handcuffed, I can just reverse it back if need be. However, we've been taught to use that, whatever you do, as a weapon. So if she grabs it real quick, again, it becomes a club. So if she's quick about it, she can strike me as hard as I can if I'm not prepared. So as we're taught releases, it's very important is that you have to break it, break the hold first and do what you need to in a certain set, but it must be quick. Part of, again, the harmony of what we do. I studied under a man called Yang Pak. Yang Pak kind of treated black belts as pretty much you were kind of new at martial arts. He treated, I guess, lower ranked belts as like going up through high school. You were just taught the basics. He didn't understand how other schools at the time in Kansas City, they had like green belt programs, blue belt programs, and brown belt programs. He didn't understand that. It was not like completing anything. So he never offered that. He only took students that you were not going to complete this, you were wasting his time. So when we started out, we had to have a commitment. And of course, things happen in life. Not everybody completes that. It's just the way it works. You know, things change. John Lennon once said, just when you start making plans, life happens to you. And he understood that in most people. But when it comes down to going to a black belt, things change. And most people that once you got this, it was over. It was never over. It was only a beginning. So when we went through even the basics of the Hapkido, he refined it when it came down to black belt. And the one thing that really frustrated him a lot is that a lot of Hapkido things go through what they call lock flows. He did not like lock flows. Because when it came down to lock flows, if Mr. Lyles grabbed my hand, you just seen them real simple. People doing this. And that's all they did. Which is fine, they were getting the locks down. But he thought it was a lot of footwork in it. And footwork, again, was part of this circle thing. He always thought that there was a triangle, 3 separate points in that circle. If I'm this way, and Mr. Lyles grabs me, I am too far out of the circle to make this effective. Because in a sense, if I try, all he has to do is hit me. So if I'm standing this way, it would be too close to be effective. I couldn't get that leverage in. Everything had to be in that circle. But he didn't like people when they grab and they're stutter stepping, because again, you could not get your top part of your body in it. So, as he grabbed, I had to learn to take the step back from one point to this one. Again, from this part of the triangle, which I am in, to this part. Okay, now, his part of a lock flow was part of only 3 to 5 techniques. Any more than that, then you were just frustrating yourself. So as we start over, 1, 2, and that's the second one. Okay, to make the third, come back together, point, back to the other one, boom. That was the third. So to brush it up, he grabs around. So that's how we thought it was. Rather than people, they grab, if he pulled back and too far out, I could not make that block. He can just get out of it. Or if he taught with the circle, but again, circle this way, now, around. If I make this circle too wide, he spins out. The other way.
Oh,
That one's sorry.
Yeah, third one.
Here, around this way. If I make this too wide, spins out. Now he's in the circle. What does he do? Kicks me. So it's always a matter of control. If I make this arm here, step, back, I'm going point to point. For a larger person, it's always better to come here for that extra torque. If it's a smaller person, even though he's not small, I can come here, I can just eliminate this part, come back around. Now, demonstrate the last point. And again, when it comes to timing, the wah, the one, and the U, this is how it works in a straight line. And if you notice, only 3 steps, forward, back. Haymaker is just real simple. Real simple. And that was really a strike. Now, Aikido, there wouldn't be a strike. It would just be a clothesline move. But as he's down, there would be a strike because he's still in the circle. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That pretty much concludes my demonstration.
Thank you, Mr. Morales. Very well done.